Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So, just moments ago, we got some awesome Phase 8 hotfixes that they just dropped. These are pretty good, some pretty massive quality of life changes that are going to be enjoyed by a lot of people, and I think it's the right move given how much people are using them. And anyway, let's switch it over here and dive right into the notes. So, we have the Season of Discovery on April 11th, so today. HOTFIXES will now sell ammunition to players right away. Fixed an issue, so that HOTFIXES is the engineering guy, that goblin in the back of New Avalon that sells the new ammo, and normally you had to do his quest, so you had to be an engineer, so now he just sells it right away and you don't have to do anything, so that's really good to see. Then fixed an issue that sometimes caused the quest loss in Eastern Plaguelands to stall, so that is a part of the chain to get your trinkets, so it just works all the time now. Then this one is absolutely massive. World buff consumables now cost 5 accommodations, was 25. So that is insane. You'll be able to have world buffs pretty much always. The prices were getting up there because Runecloth was getting really expensive, and people obviously are raiding, so they're obviously using a bunch of them too. So it was really good to see that these prices went down quite a bit. So awesome there. And then we see fixed an issue causing the locked doors in New Avalon to not be able to be opened by players when wearing the Scarlet disguise and have the Scarlet key in their inventory. So that's good to know that you need the Scarlet key and you have to have a disguise. I searched so hard on the PTR the entire time the PTR was there, and I was never able to figure out any way to do it. So the amount of times I had to kill my characters in there, to ghost in there, was insane. So I'm glad that that has been fixed and good to see. The next one is consumable tinderboxes can now be activated while shapeshift, so that's good. Always want to, never force druids to shapeshift out of things. So like the blink thing, the nitro boots, stuff like that can all now be used while shapeshifted as a druid. So awesome as a feral tank main. That's pretty dope. Then we have priests. So vampiric touch will now heal the priest for twice as much as they heal others, which is good. So now shadow priests can get their heal. Recently they nerfed them, and this was a big complaint by other shadow priests, was that, oh, now I have to bring food, now I have to eat, instead of just always being able to heal themselves to full. So now they'll heal themselves, but they won't be as impactful as the raid healing that they do. Vampiric Embrace the Season of Discovery can no longer roll a critical result. That one, I mean, they already nerfed the healing to insanely low, so I don't really see why it not critting is that big of a deal. But I guess if it crits and it's already ×2 on Priest, that's a ×4 multiplier, so like they could be healing for insane stuff on themselves. But once again, they nerfed this really hard, so I don't really see it being that crazy. Next, we have Rogue. The Rogue tier 2.5 two-piece will no longer sometimes prevent Blade Fury from activating. Strikes of Sinister Strike now has a lower priority than Blade Fury. So that's good. It seems like, I would suck that if you have Blade Fury on and then the Strikes of the Center overrode it, that would suck. Karazhan Crypts, the burning webs from the creeping Malson encounter in Karazhan Crypts will no longer hit players in Chiron's room after the encounter is completed. Finally, it took them a while, but that's been there since the beginning, so nice that they finally got around to fixing that or found whatever was wrong with it. I think that'll make people doing that dungeon a lot more happy, but really, really good to see that fixed. Then we have Nax Ramus. The unholy weapon enemies in Nax will no longer gain twice the % damage increase from Authority of the Wastes. So that's good. That explains why those weapon rooms murdered absolutely everyone that we fought or brought in. My melee DPS, I literally have them stand out when we're clearing it on the 4x mythic trash, because that stuff is just absolutely insane. So that's good to see, progress. So even though they're older content now, because Enclave being out, still love to see those changes. Scarlet Enclave. So these were already talked about earlier, but these are still awesome things that I'll read you anyway. So health values for non-boss enemies have been significantly reduced across the entire raid. So Trash was pretty intense, having 800k to 1,000,000 HP and just take a while to kill them down. You're just kind of sitting there like, ugh, this sucks. And then and it wasn't really a threat. It was just kind of like, why does this have so much HP? And then the lieutenants, they were at like 5,000,000 HP. I went in there earlier today for the first for the Scarlet Enclave updates, and they're down to about 2.4 million. So really awesome lieutenants that you fight before Beatrix. We love to see that. Then the Mage Tower and Guard Tower lieutenants are now at the front of the tower, so you don't have to go through the towers and kill a whole bunch of extra trash to get to them. And it's just a lot of things make it a lot more engaging and more towards bosses instead of just clearing trash. We spent like an hour between the first and second boss clearing the trash just to then see we messed up Beatrix, and we did some really hard encounter mechanics to it, so then we just had to call our raid instead of going after and continuing, so it just really sucked. But anyway, I'm glad that problem is gone. Then we removed some artillery enemies from around the blacksmith. The artillery likes to run away if a melee DPS hits them, so we actually were stuck in combat because an artillery ran to like some weird corner that we didn't track down and kill, so I like less artillery for sure. Then we have Beatrix-specific nerfs. The utility, healing, and disruption spells used by Beatrix's troops have either been cut or reduced in effectiveness. Effective spells include Concussion Shot, Disarm, Shield Slam, Stun, and Polymorph. So a lot less CC, and that fight is all about mobility and dodging things, so having all the mob CC was really obnoxious. Then her health has been reduced by 5%, just straight up. You'll love to see that. Then they adjusted the timing of the overlap of her class call spells. For example, there are now 4 waves of the Scarlet Infantry during the Scarlet Phalanx. It was 6. 4 waves of the Scarlet Cavalry during the Thundering Hooves was 5. And slightly less overlap between mortar combat from the artillery into the meteor from the Scarlet Mages. So we love to see that. Just generally going to be a better fight in general, because like if you got the meteor on top of the artillery, it was just so much damage and it was a wipe, especially if the meteor was anywhere on the artillery fire. And since artillery is empowered, you get the red swirlies no matter what this week. So then they adjusted the out-of-bounds triggers that could result in a Scarlet Phalanx Infantry class call gap, forcing players to walk out of bounds and take unnecessary damage. Love that. Fixed an issue that could result in Calderon becoming stuck if players entered the Radiant Portal after resurrecting. Fixed an issue that caused apparent bloat to have no spell icon, and fixed an issue that caused Solastraza's Radiant Light to egregiously display. So they added flashbangs into the game, and this is so new that people haven't even commented, but they haven't talked. Yeah, this is nothing of the other hotfix, so it's a different thread. But all in all, really good changes. Me and the Sod Saviors are going back into the new raid on Sunday, so I cannot wait to get in there and see what we have in store. I hope the raid stays hard. It seems like they're not going too hard with the nerfs, just a few things there where everyone's struggling. So it's going to be real awesome to get in there and clear it Sunday and Monday. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about these changes, if you think they should do more, etc. down below. So until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.